I'm Olivia Davidson, and I'm going to tell you a story that transformed my life completely. On March 15th, 2023, I didn't merely come close to death. I died for 15 minutes. In those moments, Jesus Christ himself unveiled to me deep truths about the divine destiny and spiritual lineage of Black people, truths I was instructed to bring back and spread to the world. The insights I gained are truly earth-shattering. But before I delve into these remarkable revelations, it's important that you know the journey that led me there. As I neared the crossroads of Maple and Oak Street, my life took a sudden, dramatic turn. A truck disregarded the red light, barreling through the intersection. I tried to swerve out of the way, but the collision was inevitable. The horrendous noise of crumpling metal and breaking glass filled the air, followed by an eerie, profound silence. In that suspended moment, I felt as though I was being lifted gently from my body. All pain faded, replaced by an overwhelming sense of tranquility. As I awakened my spiritual vision, I was transported to a realm that transcended normal descriptions. It resembled neither a room nor a confined space, but rather an endless expanse filled with soft, luminous light. This light, far from being stark or piercing, enveloped me with a warmth that touched the core of my being. In this divine space stood Jesus Christ, his figure radiating an indescribable majesty. His presence wasn't daunting, but profoundly comforting, infused with an all-consuming love and grace. His countenance was both known and otherworldly, his eyes deep with eternal wisdom, his smile a testament to endless mercy. "Welcome, Olivia," he said, his voice perfectly marrying strength and softness. "You are here to uncover truths that have been long shrouded and misconstrued." As he moved closer, tears welled up in my spiritual eyes. The love emanating from him was extraordinary, unlike anything I had ever felt before. It was complete, unconditional, and enveloping. "My child," he continued, his tone filled with warmth, "you have borne many burdens and harbored numerous questions concerning your people and their role in my divine plan. Today, I will unveil truths that will liberate many from the bonds of misconception and bias." Jesus then started to unfold the true spiritual lineage of Black people, tracing back to the dawn of human history. The revelations were starkly different from the stories I had been told all my life, including those in many Christian contexts. He explained, sensing the query in my heart before I could even speak it, has been grossly misinterpreted. It has fueled unimaginable cruelty and oppression, yet such was never my intent. He then revealed to me visions of Ham's ancient world and his lineage. I witnessed the rise of formidable kingdoms in Africa, nations endowed with profound spiritual insight and knowledge. The scenes were vivid, magnificent civilizations thriving under a divine blessing, not a curse. "Observe carefully," Jesus guided, and through his eyes, I understood the true essence of the narratives in Genesis. The curse Noah pronounced was directed solely at Canaan, not as a sweeping damnation of all Ham's offspring. It was never a matter of skin color or ethnicity. Rather, it pertained to specific spiritual decisions and their ramifications. "Your ancestors," Jesus elaborated, "were pioneers in recognizing the divine within creation. They grasped sacred truths that would elude many for centuries. Their spiritual acumen was not a burden, but a blessing, a gift often misunderstood and feared by those who lacked the insight to appreciate its depth." My eyes widened in wonder as he displayed the ancient spiritual practices of Africa, not as crude rituals, but as refined manifestations of divine insight. I observed how these practices, in their purest and unaltered form, mirrored profound spiritual realities that were in harmony with God's teachings, the capacity to perceive the divine in every aspect of creation. Jesus clarified, to recognize the unity of all existence under his sovereignty. This was a unique blessing bestowed upon your ancestors. They understood that every part of creation was an expression of my praise, that every element could serve to honor my name. He revealed how this spiritual sensitivity continued through generations, manifesting even during the darkest times. Throughout slavery, this divine bond remained unbreakable. It evolved into the soulful spirituals that echoed both sorrow and hope, the powerful prayers that moved mountains, and the steadfast faith that supported millions through severe trials. Observe, Jesus prompted, and suddenly before me were scenes from history unrecorded in any textbook. I witnessed ancient African kingdoms where wisdom and spiritual insight were abundant. I saw leaders and priests deeply connected with God, their prayers and prophecies influencing the fate of nations. These were not rudimentary tribes bound by superstition, Jesus clarified. They were philosophers, theologians, and mystics who comprehended essential truths about his essence and the universe. Their wisdom was revered by monarchs from afar, including those depicted in your sacred texts. He revealed to me how the Queen of Sheba, who famously visited Solomon, descended from a lineage of African rulers dedicated to seeking divine knowledge. Her expedition was more than a mere display of Solomon's opulence and sagacity. It symbolized the convergence of two profound spiritual heritages, each enriched by divine favor. Your people, Jesus continued, were pioneers in grasping the concept of communal worship, that wherever two or three are gathered in my name, there I am among them. They understood the potency of collective prayer and praise well before these concepts were formalized in the New Testament. I observed how this wisdom endured, even through the harrowing trials of the Middle Passage and slavery, the clandestine prayer gatherings in secluded woods, the encoded spirituals, the ring shouts. These were not merely mechanisms to endure suffering. They were vibrant expressions of profound spiritual insight, sustaining a connection to divine truth despite relentless efforts to obliterate it. Your people's resilience, Jesus remarked, stems from an unbroken spiritual heritage. Even when subjected to enforced conversions to various Christian denominations, they did not merely adopt a new religion. They embraced it because it echoed the spiritual insights they had always held. He revealed to me that Black spirituality has consistently highlighted the personal encounter with the divine, the significance of connecting directly with God, and the belief that spiritual truths must be embodied, not merely professed. These were not deviations from authentic Christianity, but rather manifestations of its most profound essences. Your forebears, Jesus continued, realized that genuine worship is not confined within walls or restricted to specific days. They understood that every breath could serve as a prayer, every deed as an offering, and every single moment could be hallowed. This is what I endeavored to teach during my time on earth, though many have since lost sight of it. I observed how this insight shaped Black congregations over the ages, the focus on feeling God's presence, the value placed on personal testimonies, and the belief that worship should involve the entire being, body, mind, and soul. This is not about emotional excess, Jesus clarified, addressing a common critique I had encountered. This is worship in its truest form, in spirit and truth. Your people have maintained this insight while many have drifted into hollow ceremonialism. He illustrated how the Black church's focus on social justice and communal support was not a recent shift or a move away from spiritual roots. It was an extension of the ancient African belief that spiritual truths must be actualized through concrete actions. When your ancestors provided for the hungry, clothed the destitute, and advocated for justice, Jesus continued, they were not merely obeying my teachings, they were manifesting their profound realization that love for God is inseparable from love for one's neighbor. Then Jesus revealed to me a vision that brought me to my knees, the true spiritual meaning behind the suffering of Black people throughout history. It was not a punishment or a curse, as some had suggested. It was a deep mystery rooted in divine intention. Your people's suffering, Jesus spoke with profound emotion, mirrors my own on the cross. It was not merited, but through it, a greater purpose unfolds. Through their trials, your people have discovered and showcased the power of forgiveness, the resilience of faith, and the victory of love over hatred. I have witnessed how the Black experience of enduring and surviving, holding on to faith and humanity amidst dehumanization, has forged a distinct testament to God's faithfulness and strength. The spiritual hymns that emerged from bondage, the prayers murmured in secrecy, the hope sustained against all adversity. These were not mere coping strategies. They were deep-seated expressions of spiritual truth. Your people's history, Jesus elucidated, serves as a vibrant testimony to my ability to transform death into life, despair into hope, and defeat into victory. This is why your spiritual songs and stories resonate globally. They embody this profound truth. Then Jesus disclosed something that stirred my soul profoundly, the pivotal role of Black people in the end times and in the forthcoming kingdom of God. The preservation of your people through history, he stated, has been purposeful. The wisdom they have gleaned from suffering, their insights into spiritual warfare, and their ability to sustain faith under duress. These qualities will be indispensable in the future. Visions of a time when the profound spiritual wisdom embedded in Black culture would become essential for guiding all of humanity through challenging periods unfolded before me. The skills to uphold faith under pressure, to combat dehumanization, and to discover joy amidst sorrow. These capabilities would be necessary for all. A time is approaching, Jesus proclaimed, when the wisdom of your people will be acknowledged and sought after, the understanding they have preserved on recognizing my presence even in suffering, maintaining dignity amid degradation, and forgiving and loving in the face of hostility. This wisdom will illuminate the path for many. He illustrated how the endurance and faith of the Black community under adversity had forged a model for spiritual defiance essential for future trials. The wisdom distilled from generations of hardship would serve as a beacon for those encountering parallel tribulations. The narrative of your people, Jesus elucidated, transcends mere history. It forecasts the future. The insights from their odyssey will fortify my church for forthcoming obstacles. Their knack for identifying and countering dehumanizing forces while preserving love and faith will be vital. He revealed to me the increasing significance of the Black church's legacy of prophetic witness, boldly confronting authority while harboring love for adversaries. The ability to discern between oppressive systems and the individuals ensnared by them, to combat injustice while offering prayers for the oppressors, would be essential knowledge for the forthcoming era. The spiritual depth gained through your people's experiences, Jesus stated, will steer my church amidst the tribulations of the end times. Their capacity to sustain faith when all appears to deny it, to discover joy amidst grief, and to perceive my presence even in the bleakest situations. These will be indispensable teachings for all followers. He enlightened me on how the Black perspective on spiritual warfare, viewed not merely as a personal contest, but as a campaign against systemic evils, would aid the church in identifying and challenging the deceptive systems of the last days. Your people have mastered, Jesus detailed, the art of recognizing oppressive structures while still loving those entangled within them. This insight will be critical as my church confronts the escalating pressures to conform to secular systems. Then Jesus revealed to me a vision that struck me with profound reverence, the distinguished honor that Black believers would receive in the forthcoming kingdom. Those who have been last will be first, he declared, not as an act of vengeance or simple inversion, but because their adversities had cultivated spiritual virtues mirroring his own essence: forgiveness, endurance, finding joy amidst affliction, and love for adversaries. I beheld how the Black struggle to preserve dignity and humanity against dehumanization had uniquely mirrored Christ's own nature, his capacity to uphold divine love even amid rejection and crucifixion. Your people's odyssey, Jesus articulated, has been a journey of metamorphosis into my likeness through suffering, not because suffering is virtuous, but because it has taught them to depend on me in ways that many have not needed to. He illustrated how this profound trust, this capacity to worship during the darkest moments, and this resolve to choose love over hatred would emanate with exceptional luminosity in the kingdom. The moment is near, Jesus declared, when the deep spiritual roots of your community will be rightfully recognized and celebrated. The knowledge they've safeguarded, the faith they've nurtured, and the compassion they've consistently demonstrated, these will be seen as foundational to the blueprint of my kingdom. As our time together came to an end, Jesus entrusted me with a vital message, a command he urged me to spread far and wide. Announce. He instructed with profound intensity and authority that the days of misinterpretation and distortion are concluding. Proclaim that the spiritual legacy of Black people is not a stigma, but a blessing, not a disgrace, but a testament to glory, not a burden, but a precious offering to all of humanity. He continued, declare that their endurance, their safeguarded wisdom, and their sustained love in the face of animosity, these are not mere human feats, but the manifestation of divine gifts that uniquely display my power and essence. Communicate, Jesus implored, his voice imbued with both power and gentleness, that I am calling upon the immense spiritual strength and wisdom I have placed within Black people. It is time for this brilliance to be fully illuminated, for this insight to be acknowledged, and for this fortitude to be honored. As I sensed my return to my physical self, Jesus left me with a parting message. Remember, Olivia, this vision wasn't meant just for you. You need to spread the knowledge of what you've seen. Many are now ready to embrace these truths. The time for awakening is here. I came to in the hospital, surrounded by the persistent beeps of machines and the worried looks of medical staff. The doctors said I had been clinically dead for 15 minutes. They deemed my recovery a medical marvel, but I recognized it as something far greater. I had received a divine commission, a sacred task to communicate these revelations to the world. What Jesus showed me about the authentic spiritual heritage and destiny of Black people has irrevocably transformed my life. It has provided me with a new perspective on our history, our trials, and our place in God's design. Above all, it has taught me that what many perceived as a curse is actually a hidden blessing, a divine grooming for a unique role in God's kingdom. I share this testimony not to create conflict or claim superiority, but to foster healing and renewal. These insights are not exclusive to Black individuals. They are for anyone eager to delve deeper into God's ways. They demonstrate how God transforms perceived weaknesses into showcases of His power, how He converts suffering into glory, and how He has safeguarded essential spiritual knowledge through a people many sought to obliterate. If you are listening to this, understand that these insights do not merely reflect on history. They concern both the present and the future. They are about acknowledging and honoring the divine wisdom and resilience that God has maintained through the trials faced by Black people. They highlight how this wisdom and resilience are vital for all believers moving forward. Above all, these insights offer hope that God remembers His people, that He has a purpose for every tear and every hardship, and that He is crafting something magnificent from even the most somber parts of our history. Allow these truths to penetrate deeply into your heart. Let them question your assumptions and broaden your perspective. Let them heal old wounds and bring hope for what lies ahead. For by grasping these truths, we draw nearer to comprehending the heart of God and His incredible design for all His children.